What's up, everyone? I'm Duncan, and welcome to a Rank My Starters. You rank all the starters in Pokemon. This is a tag video by HoodlumCallum, so thank you very much, HoodlumCallum, for coming up with this great tag. It's actually a really cool idea. So I'm going to be ranking the starter Pokemon by generation. Fair warning, I barely played Gen 4, and I didn't play Gen 5 until very recently. So those I've ranked basically purely on the way I use the Mons in Gen 6 and 7, as opposed to how they were as starters. But let's start with Gen 1. So my very first starter Pokemon in this whole tag rank my Pokemon thing is my boy Charmander. He's my absolute favorite starter Pokemon. I know it's generic. I know everybody has Charmander as their favorite, but hear me out. I was 7 years old and I got to have a pet dragon named Wales the Charizard, and he was a Charmander when I picked him. I'm always going to be loyal to the Charmander. I know a lot of people have it's not cool to be loyal to Charmander anymore, so they've switched and they've like Squirtle boys now or Bulbasaur boys now. No, Charmander for life, best starter. The other two, let's go for second place. I'm going to go ahead and give second place to Squirtle. I like him. He's a good turtly boy, especially because Blastoise has cannons on his back. I just think that's really cool. So I've always liked Blastoise a lot. I'm going to go ahead and pick Squirtle for my second place in the Kanto region. And finally, last place doesn't mean I don't like them. I love Bulbasaur. He's a good little frog. He's a good little frog boy. I like him. He's a fun friend. Venusaur is probably my least favorite of the final Evos, but he's still cool. I think Venusaur's great, and I think Bulbasaur's great, and I love my little frog. I do love all the Kanto starters. They're part of my childhood. Nostalgia is going strong here. If you actually look back, they're not the most inspired designs ever, but they were the entirety of my childhood, basically, when it came to portable games at the very least. And so I love my Kanto starter boys. When it comes to Johto, this is where it was like a real twist, because I was fire for life. I was like, fire type's the best type for starters. I'm going to pick Cyndaquil. I'm going to pick Cyndaquil. When all of the spoilers were going around the schoolyard and people had magazines with pictures of these starter Pokemon, because it came out in America first. You got to remember, UK was left out in the cold with Gen 2, and it came out in America first, and we had to wait for it. So we knew everything in that game. I was going around the schoolyard, like magazines, like Nintendo Power Magazine, if anybody remembers Nintendo Power Magazine, with the starter Pokemon in it. And I'm like, I'm going to pick my boy Cyndaquil. Fire type for life. And then I sat down and I was playing the actual game and I'm like, but it's a crocodile though, right? It's Croconaw. So in first place for Johto, we have my boy Croconaw. I love this little boy. I love Feraligatr. Battle. Gator is great. I love that his name is so long, Feraligatr, that it doesn't actually fit in the maximum characters, so they had to take the O out. That's why it's Feraligatr, just TR, is because actually the English name didn't fit. It should have been Feraligator with an O, but instead, I just love everything about it. He's a good boy. He's a really strong boy as well. Now I can use him and actually battle with him, and he's great. He's probably the most viable of the Johto starters' final forms in competitive battling, so I think he's fantastic. We're going to give first place to Feraligatr. Second place, of course, it should be no surprise to anybody. Cyndaquil's in second. Just because I downgraded him doesn't mean I didn't still love him, and you better believe that we traded day one. I had all three starters. We traded, and we did the trick where you restart your game, and then you trade them the starter, and then you restart the game, trade them the starter. We did that. We cloned them. We had all the starters. We were rocking out on the schoolyard with full team of starters, 3 starters and then 3 legends, and that's just how we rolled when we battled on the playground, because there were no rules. This wasn't Smogon, this wasn't VGC. There were no rules. You do what you want with the Pokemon you want. Didn't even have a level maxed out, so like my level 100 might be fighting your level 55. You just had to deal with it back in the day, and that was real as anything, and my Typhlosion put in work for me. And then third place, Chikorita. And I know before with Bulbasaur I said if it's in third place, it doesn't mean I don't like it. But if I don't like it, it does mean I don't like it. I don't like Chikorita. He's a stupid little... He's just a sausage with a leaf on his head. I don't even know what it's meant to be. It evolves into a dinosaur, but even then it's the worst dinosaur in all of Pokemon. I just think it's leaf sausage, and veggie sausages aren't nice. I like real sausages, so I'm not a vegetarian. So I'm going to go ahead and say that Chikorita is my least favorite. Now, we've had a fire favorite, and we've had a water favorite. Funnily enough, actually, Gen 3, we're going to go ahead and we're going to have a grass favorite. First place in Gen 3 is my boy Treecko. What a good dog. Look at this excellent dog. He's just the best behaved boy, all right? He evolves into an even bigger dog with even more leaves. He's just a really well-behaved, good boy, and I love geckos. Fun fact, I used to visit Spain when I was a kid. We'd go on holiday to Spain, and the place we used to stay was just infested. It was like this house that you could rent, and it was called the Mariposa, and it was just infested with geckos, and in such a good way. Like, you'd be lying in bed and you'd look up and there'd be geckos running on your ceiling and stuff. I loved geckos, always loved geckos. When I could have a gecko, I was like, that's my Pokemon. That is my Pokemon. It's the first game we didn't do the starter trick with because I was playing this on my own. It was school holidays, I think, when I got this game. And so by the time I got back to school, I already had my finished team and I was ready to battle. I didn't want to have to train up the other starters. So I did go ahead and take Treecko. Second place, we're giving that to Torchic. I like fire types a lot. I still, fire types, it's hard to knock them out of second place. Like, knocking a fire type to third, it has to be a pretty bad fire type, honestly. Mudkip, love Mudkip. He's in third. It happens. Sorry, Mudkip. But yeah, I've got that Torchic in second place. I don't like Combusken. I think Combusken is ugly. I think he's just a big chicken drumstick and he's ugly. But Blaziken's pretty cool. He lifts up one leg. He looks like he might be a Taekwondo fighter. I'm a Taekwondo fighter. I feel it. I've got that resonance with Blaziken. Kick fighting. I did Taekwondo. He looks like, he likes to kick things. I like to kick things. Blaziken's my boy. Probably my favorite final Evo from that gen is Blaziken, but I have to say that my favorite starter is Treecko because he's my boy. He's a gecko. Geckos are great. And then finally, Mudkip. It's just a meme, isn't it? Liking Mudkips, I find it hard. I'm not a memer. I'm not a top memer. I'm sorry. Like, Sid edits my Smash videos. They're very memey, but check them out. They're great. But the Smash highlight videos, but they're memey. I'm not memey. I'm not good at memes. My Twitter is very much sort of like roasting people and promoting myself and talking to friends. That's it. So I'm not a memer. Mudkip's a meme, so Mudkip's in third place. It's as simple as that. And then Gen 4 comes along. And I only played the beginning of Gen 4, but there's one thing about Gen 4 that I always love. My favorite animal is a penguin. In South Africa, once again, childhood story again. Look at this. We're finding out about Duncan's childhood. Childhood story. When I was a kid, used to visit Cape Point. I was born in South Africa. For those of you who don't know, I was actually born in Zimbabwe, but then South Africa is a lot safer than Zimbabwe. So when I was a kid, we used to go to South Africa. We'd be in Cape Town and we'd drive down to Penguin Point is what I used to call it. And it was Cape Point has a lot of African penguins. It's a colony of African penguins. And when I was a kid, you used to be able to swim with African penguins. And while Piplup is not an African penguin, he is a penguin. And I love penguins. So in fact, Piplup looks a little bit like belly-wise with the flex, a little bit like an African, but he's not really. But Piplup's the boy. That's my boy Newt. He's he's solid. He's a good penguin. What a good boy. I love penguins. I used to swim with penguins. You're not allowed to swim with them anymore, which is really quite depressing. But if you ever get the opportunity, please do go down to Penguin Bay down at Cape Point in South Africa. It's a beautiful place, and you do get to see penguins, and they're great. They have real attitude. Penguins are an animal with attitude, and I think attitude goes a long way with animals. In second place, again, we have a fire type with my boy Chimp. That's Chimp Act. You gotta love Chimp Act. He evolves into Kyle Kenny himself, into Infernape. Infernape's a great Pokemon, a really powerful Pokemon. Great design, great sort of design philosophy based on Sun Wukong, the Monkey King. Sun Wukong's awesome. It's a great story, great myth, and I really, really like Infernape a lot. Again, when I was a kid, it was a real toss-up. I didn't know. I wasn't really a kid in Gen 4 anymore, though. I was sort of growing up, and that's why I sort of fell off of Pokemon for a little bit. I was a bit distracted by life. As you do, as you grow up, you're like 14, 15, you get a little bit distracted by life. It just happens. You do sometimes fall away from gaming. I fell away from gaming entirely, so didn't play many video games. Definitely didn't play much Gen 4. I played up to the third gym. But I did have my Prinplup, and I had my Chimchar as well. Chimchar's a great boy. Evolves into a great Pokemon. Very useful today. And then my least favorite is Turtwig. I think Turtwig is just generic. It's another sort of grass turtley thing. I don't like Torterra. It's based on a cool thing, the world turtle, which carries the world on its back. That's cool, and the tree is cool, but when I was a kid, I didn't like it, and I stick to my guns. So Torterra, not my favorite. Turtwig's not bad. He's just definitely not my favorite. Gen 5! Gen 5, I didn't play at all until very recently where I did a playthrough with Paddy Trills. So that was my first ever experience of Gen 5. Black and White. I've still never played Black and White 2. I'm just going to rate these ones very quickly based on how much I like their designs. Tepig is awesome. I don't know why people don't like the idea of Tepig. He's a flaming pig. I like him. He looks like Ganondorf when he's fully evolved. I love The Legend of Zelda. Ganondorf's my favorite character from any video game ever. I'm rocking with Tepig. Tepig is my boy. He rolls into either Ganon Pork. You can call him Ganon Pork or Gamondorf. Because Gammon, you know, it's clever. It's good nicknames. He lends himself to good nicknames. Second place goes to Oshawott. He could have had first place if his final evolution didn't look like crap. Oshawott would have had first place if it was just based off of the first two evolutions. Oshawott's there, right? Oshawott's like, I'm a samurai otter. Otters are fucking awesome. Samurai are awesome. I'm a samurai otter. And then he's like, I'm a samurai otter, and Duot is like really samurai otter. And then he just turns into this weird four-legged thing, and I'm like, what the hell's going on? What? They don't even look related. Samurott doesn't even look related to Oshawott and Duot. It just doesn't. It doesn't fit. Why wasn't he like some baller on his hind feet, swords on his back, like made of shells, ready to rock and roll, samurai, super awesome, like Bankai, like Animu shit. Like give us some Animu. Why do we give us this Samurott nonsense? And then my least favorite is Snivy because he looks really arrogant. And that's it. And I don't like Superior because it's just a snake. And snakes are cool and it's very competitive, but I don't like it. So, right, moving back to where I came back to Pokemon, Gen 6. Gen 6 is awesome. I'm checking my notes, by the way, on my phone. If you see me looking down like, I'm checking my notes on my phone just to make sure I don't miss anything, because I almost skipped Gen 5. That would have been bad. So Gen 6, Froakie is my favorite. Froakie's cool. He's a good little frog. Greninja is fan servicey as hell, but it's got the scarf. As I said, sometimes Animu shit fits, and in Pokemon, it just fits. Greninja's a really good fit. He's great in Smash Bros. I really like Greninja. I rate Greninja really highly. I really regretted not picking Froakie at the beginning of the game when I saw the final evolutions, all of that, but then I picked Chespin because no one was picking Chespin, and I felt like he was left out. So, and I liked Chestnut because he's like a dreadnought, and I liked the name, and I liked how he looked. He was like, fucking, come at me, bro. Come at me. But Greninja turned out to have Protein as an ability, which was such a cool ability. I really like that. Like type changing, everything has stab, like great coverage, banned from OU, and then unbanned, and then banned again, and then I think unbanned, and then all kinds of stuff. Just great Pokemon. I was in my competitive zone in Gen 6. That's where I was like, competitive Pokemon. That's where I'm at. That's what I want to do. Before free-for-alls even existed, I was like, I'm a competitive player. Oh, you boys, let's go. And then free-for-alls happened, and now I use everything. Second place in Gen 6, we're going to go for Chespin. Chespin's my boy. He's cute. He evolves into a tank. He evolves into an absolute unit. What a unit Chestnut is. Have you seen that unit? Have you seen that boy? He looks like he could bench press your entire family. He is big. He is strong. He has Spiky Shield, which is a great move. Chestnut is the boy. Chespin is the boy. The middle form, Quilladin, I could take it or leave it. He's just an egg. Okay. And then in last place, Fennekin. Breaks in his lane in Pokken. Really annoying Pokemon. The final evolution, I can't even... Delphox. Ugly. It's got big hairy ears. I don't like its first evolution. I don't like anything about Fennekin. That little fox can get lost. This is the only fire type in third place. Spoiler alert, the only fire type in third place. I'm a fire type trainer. I'm a fire type boy. But goddamn, Fennekin is ugly and I do not like it. So, yeah, Fennekin's in last place for Gen 6. Gen 7. All right, Gen 7, we have the boy Lytton in first place. He gets Intimidate, he gets Fake Out, he's great, he's competitively viable in Little Cup. Incineroar is the best mon in VGC, or was for a long time. And it's a cat, and I'm a cat person. I have a cat named Nagi. I nicknamed my Lytton Nagi. It just works. You get what I'm saying? It just works. Lytton's the best. I know people are going to be upset because Rowlett's a meme and all of that. And I told you I'm not a memer. So Rowlett, Decidueye is boring. I like Rowlett and I like Dartrix, but I don't like Decidueye very much. I think it's just too Robin Hoodie, and like the bow and arrow, the Archer Bird, that's kind of cool. And when it was leaked and nobody believed the leaks, people were like, oh my god, that's so cool. But he was too slow. They just ruined him by making him slow. Ghost type was cool though. The big switch up from flying to Ghost, that was cool. But in second place, talking of Rowlett, we've got Rowlett. So Lytton, first place, cat. Cats are great. Love cats. Always going to put a cat in first place, especially if it's a fire cat. Let's go. Rowlett's good. I like Rowlett. I've already said all the cool stuff. I kind of ruined... The sequencing was kind of off there. But Rowlett's great. And in third place, we've got the stupid clown. I don't like Poplio. I don't know. You know, feels Poplio, man. Yeah, you can go ahead and cry. You stupid little seal. Nobody cares about you. You evolve into a weird clown siren thing. Like, why do you still have the clown nose when you're meant to be this beautiful siren? It just doesn't make sense. You don't make sense, Poplio. Go away. Nobody loves you. Okay, you're allowed to love Poplio. He's not my favorite. He's definitely third place. I just don't like him very much. He just doesn't do it for me as a design. Finally, Gen 8. Now, a lot of people have been ragging on these Gen 8 starters, but Gen 8 starters, they've got some great starters in Gen 8. They really do. Phenomenal starters in Gen 8. Well, 2 of them, at least, are phenomenal. One of them's... All right, but first place, Gen 8, right now, because we haven't seen any other forms, this could change. If the final forms are drastically different from what I imagine, this could definitely change. First place, we've got my boy Scorebunny. I like Scorebunny. He's got like little flints on his feet and he runs and he's like makes fire, comes down. He's got some sass. He's got a little bit of a panache to him. I like Scorebunny. That thing on his nose is not a plaster. He's not going to be firefighting. I choose to believe he's not going to be firefighting. But Scorebunny is in fact my boy. In second place, Sobble. Look at that good dog. It's another good dog. We've had 2 good dogs in Pokemon now. What a great... He's a chameleon. He's cute. He comes out of the water. He's invisible when he's wet. And then he dries out. And he's like, oh, I'm here. And then he's like, check it. Look down here. And he's got the little pinchy feet. Pinchy feet are great. I love chameleons. He's so adorable. I think Sobble wins on cuteness. And then in final place, I think Grookey is a little bit boring. Look, he's not bad. I think Grookey is better than the previous, like, Pansage. Obviously, he's better than the Grass Monkey we've had before. Obviously, he could massively improve. I mean, I'm not sitting there like, oh, Grookey will never look good. And people are like, that's Grookey Gang, Grookey Gang, Grookey Gang. And I'm like, no, Grookey Gang. If you want to like Grookey, that's absolutely fine. Shoutouts to you. Those are my starter Pokemon ranked from first to last in every generation. Shoutouts to Callum for the tag. I'm going to tag Ace Trainer Liam. I'm going to tag Marty, and I'm going to tag Lulu the Pikachu. So those are my 3 tags. So Marty Bennett, Lulu the Pikachu, and Ace Trainer Liam. Thank you very much for watching, guys, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye!